Welcome to another review with a difference as the Betfred Super League Round 19 and everything games that looked dead and buried suddenly came back to life time and time again. Teams written off, reviews to stay down, and one match in particular, well, if you switched over at half-time convinced the result was already settled, you missed the best drama on TV an hour later. Oh yeah, momentum swung, crowds erupted, leads disappeared, heroes emerged, hearts were broken. This wasn't just another weekend of Super League. Oh no, this was a weekend of comebacks, chaos, controversy, and unforgettable finishes. Oh yeah, so buckle up because we're reliving every twist, every turning point, and every incredible comeback from one of the most dramatic rounds yet of the Betfred Super League this year. Let's go first to Wakefield Trinity against Bradford at Hudsall. The Trin climbed in to second place briefly in Super League, but only after surviving a ferocious Bradford Bulls ambush. The 26-12 scoreline suggests comfortable win for Trin. The reality was anything but. An early Tom Johnstone try looks to have set Wakefield on course for a comfortable evening. I mean, less than 2 minutes on the clock, no less. Bradford refused to read the script, though. Oh no, forcing Trinity into a hard-fought battle where every metre had to be earned. In the end, Trinity's class toll tries from Johnstone, Will Tate, Jay Pitts, Josh Rock, and Harvey Smith, plus 3 raw conversions, secured an 8th win in 9 games and moved Wakefield to within 2 points of leaders, the Leeds Rhinos. But it wasn't until Smith crossed in the closing stages that Trinity could finally breathe. Until then, Bradford refused to go away. Oh yes, with 5 of the current top 7 still to come in their final 9 league games, Wakefield know every win matters. It wasn't a classic, but title contenders had to win ugly as well as win well. Credit belongs to Bradford though, who refused to buckle despite losing Logan Lewis before kickoff and Dan Russell to an eye socket injury during the game. They kept asking questions, even if they rarely got the answers that they wanted. Ethan Ryan spectacularly outjumped Lachlan Walmsley to level the scores, only to spend the next chapter in the sin bin for upending Josh Rourke under a high ball. A mood swing so dramatic, it deserved its own Netflix documentary. And Ethan Ryan, the title, and Mr. Clumsy. Wakefield instantly punished the extra man as Tate crossed before Luke Hooley's penalty trimmed the deficit to 10-6 at the break. The Bulls needed a big second half response. Instead, they briefly defended like someone had accidentally unplugged the Wi-Fi. Jay Pitts burst through untouched to restore Trinity's 10-point cushion. Again, Bradford fought back. Chris Atkins' converted try, dragging them within touching distance, while 3 correctly ruled out tries summed up the night where the margins never seemed to fall Bradford's way. The killer blow finally arrived when Caleb Atkins fumbled a high kick over his own line and Rourke reacted quickest to touchdown. Harvey Smith added late gloss, but the score flattered Wakefield in all honesty. Trinity left with second place and another huge win. Bradford left empty-handed, but after pushing one of Super League's form teams to the brink, they also left with plenty of pride. Not vintage Wakefield, but champions aren't judged by how they play on the easy nights. They're judged by how they survive the horrible ones. A solid win this for the Trin. Friday night saw the Catalans Dragons arrive at the Brewdog, expected to win against the St. Helens side that resembled a patchwork quilt. But as everyone knows, it's not the look, but the tog that matters. And this St. Helens performance was about to deliver a warm and cosy evening for the Rugby faithful. 18-year-old Jack Campbell was called up on the morning of the match after Nene McDonald joined Saints' already lengthy injury list. Because let's be fair, currently the St. Helens squad is being assembled by shaking a hospital waiting room and seeing who falls out on the other side. After last week's catastrophic 46-0 humiliation by Toulouse, Saints needed a reaction. They got one, overcoming a 12-6 half-time deficit to sink Catalans and leave any remaining Dragons playoff hopes looking about as healthy as a kebab left on the pavement overnight. Catalans struck first through Charlie Staines after a blistering break from Aspiro Bichet, with Saints temporarily reduced while Jack Wellesby received treatment. Saints responded when Jed Cartwright produced a stunning one-handed catch from a Jackson Hastings kick to score against the side coached by his father John. Oh yeah, Getting family counsellors giddy that one at the prospect of a bit of extra work, no doubt. I hope they made up at full time. Nick Cotrick restored Catalan's lead before the break, although the visitors had chances denied by disallowed tries and a desperate last-ditch tackle from Campbell, who was playing wing rather than his usual fullback role that he plays in the reserves. Then came the Saints' revival. 3 tries in 8 second-half minutes turned the game around, with Campbell grabbing his first after a brilliant Tristan Saylor offload. Oh, yes, absolutely incredible. Looked less like rugby and more like a magician escaping a lock box, that one. Absolutely beautiful offload from Tristan Saylor. Take a bow, sir. Then Tom Humphries got in on the act, creating scores for Harry Robertson and Wellesby with a little clever chip and a superb break. Cotrick added a second for Catalans, but Campbell wasn't finished. The debutant crossed again after slick Saints handling before Robertson sealed victory with a brilliant jinking finish. Saints moved up to 5th on the night, but this night belonged to Campbell. It was a dream debut. 2 tries, 2 try-saving tackles, and a vital 2 points for his team in the kit bag. Well played, young man. Absolutely exceptional. The Saints are marching again, albeit they've got Wigan this week. Let's go to the AQ Stadium for another game that might not have had a hat or a sparkly white glove, but this was a thriller. Zach Eckersley's hat-trick finally bludgeoned Huddersfield's stubborn resistance as Wigan Warriors escaped with a 24-10 win to overtake Wakefield Trinity in second spot. Oh, yes, this was a belter, wasn't it? It was supposed to be a procession, but not a bit of it. Huddersfield had lost 11 straight, endured a week from hell, and were facing a Wigan Warriors side that was 7 in a row. The sort of fixture where the bookmakers start offering tempting, silly odds, knowing they will be laughing all the way to the bank at full time. But instead, the Giants dragged Wigan Warriors into a street fight and very nearly ensured their supporters mugged Fred Dolan & Co. for a second time this season. Tane Milne stunned Wigan with an opening try after a flick pass from Sam Hewitt that belonged next to the Mona Lisa. But it wasn't long before Oliver Partington and Zach Eckersley turned it around to give the visitors a very well-earned 10-4 half-time lead. But Huddersfield refused to fold. Oh, yeah, they stayed at the bays all night. Jacob Gagai's converted score hauled them level, and suddenly Wigan looked rattled. For a while, they looked like they'd left Matt Peet's verbal instructions in the dressing room. They didn't look their usual assured self. The contest simmered on the edge all night. Tui Lolohea and Shea O'Connor were both sin-binned after a flashpoint that was only missing some mud and maybe a bath. It wasn't a good look, was it? And both of them sat down for 10. Then came the turning point. Huddersfield thought they produced a worldie. A stunning counter-attacking try led by George Flanagan, only for it to be chalked off for a forward pass right at the death. Arguably, this was Huddersfield Giants trying the season that never was. To make matters worse, because let's be fair, rugby league occasionally enjoys kicking you when you're already down. Yes, it did get worse. Joe Greenwood's descent earned him a sin bin at the worst possible moment, and Wigan smelled blood at that point. Harry Smith floated a delightful kick for Eckersley to pounce on before the young winger completed his treble from a George O'Loughlin final tackle pass to take his tally to 19 tries for the season. By then, the resistance was gone, unfortunately. Huddersfield had spent 70 minutes trying to build a bridge back into the game, only for Wigan to arrive with a wrecking ball and a very smug expression. Huddersfield's spirit deserved more than the scoreline suggests. They were absolutely superb. They really were. I bet they wish they could play Wigan every week, quite frankly, because without question, that has been the best performances they've given us this season. Wigan's quality, though, in the end, was a little bit too much for them to handle. They just get the job done at the right time. That's where quality on the field starts to show in these tight games. And yeah, Wigan came good in the end. The ill discipline of the Giants as well didn't help him. It was a cruel ending, real cruel ending. But let's be fair, rugby league has never been known for its interest in fairness. It's basically a medieval punishment system with better shirts. Let's now go to Super League Saturday. It started at the HJ with the Warrington Wolves howling back to life with a statement victory, smashing reigning champions Hull KR and dragging themselves back to within touching distance of second place. After 3 defeats in 4 games had left their playoff hopes looking wobblier than a Roundtree's jelly, Wire responded in emphatic style. The doubts flattened, the critics quietened for now, the Robins left wondering if their sat-nav had accidentally taken them to a defensive disaster zone. The missed tackles again from the Robins. Ouch. The champions arrived needing a win to revive their playoff push, but their trademark swagger, that was missing. They started brightly, but when chances came, they just fizzled out faster than a dodgy firework, knock-on, poor execution, you name it. It was there for all to see. Lachlan Webster, just 19 years of age, got White's first try and his first in Super League before James Harrison burst through a struggling KR line to extend the lead. Ashton then brought up his 100th Warrington Wolves try in spectacular fashion, holding onto a ball that Reece Martin was that sure he would knock on, he told his legs to stop running. Then came the try of the game as Ben Curry, his scintillating form, produced a wonderful soft pass to Toff Sipley, whose running line exposed a huge gap in the Robins' defence, leaving Hull KR searching for answers and possibly a map back to their own try line in pursuit of Danny Walker, who raced away to score in perhaps his best performance of the season thus far. Half-time, 24-0. Not a single person in Primrose and Blue in the stands could believe what their eyes was well, we've seen. Let's be crystal clear. Let's be the same with the Robins. The Robins fan must be thinking, what's going on here? And rightly so. The second half was an error fest, absolute error fest, with a couple of tries thrown in for good measure. But the story of the game had already been written in the first half, in which Warrington Wolves left the supporters in dreamland and wondered why they'd had a nightmare a week before at the Brick. And then there was the performance of Mikey Lewis, who arrived with a reputation for being magic every now and again. But this was an afternoon where the wand went missing and the clown shoes came out. The Hull KR star escaped punishment on the day for a headbutt on Adam Holroyd, although the match review panel today has delivered the verdict with a 3-match ban before adding to his miserable afternoon with a yellow card for a late hit on Ewan Irwin. The Robins needed their playmaker to produce moments of brilliance. Instead, Lewis provided moments of absolute madness. This wasn't Mikey Lewis, the match winner. It was Mikey Lewis, the liability, trading genius for gratuitous nonsense. For Warrington, this was exactly the response they needed. For Hull KR, it was a brutal reminder that defending a Super League crown is not a leisurely stroll. It's more like trying to carry a pint across a trampoline while everyone else is throwing chairs at you. Who'd have thought it? What a win for the Wire. The tea-time kickoff saw Hull FC take on the Lee Leopards in another game of two halves. Lee Leopards survived a second-half scare from FC to claw their way back into the Super League playoff places, despite briefly looking like a team who had forgotten the golden rule of Rugby League. You can't defend a 28-point lead by politely asking the opposition to stop scoring. Josh Charlie, Super League's all-time leading try scorer, was the hero of the night, opening the scoring and then producing a vital second-half try 9 minutes from time to stop a remarkable Hull FC comeback. Lee were ruthless in the first half, tearing apart a disjointed Hull defence. Charlie pounced on a loose ball before Adam Cook, David Armstrong with 2 tries and Yamila Hanley added further damage. Cook's kicking and creativity kept the Leopards in control, leaving Hull heading into the break 28 points down and facing the sort of inquest usually reserved for badly assembled IKEA furniture. But Hull FC, who have now lost 9 of their last 10 matches, showed some fight after the interval. Harvey Barron scored twice, while Cade Cust and debutant Lennon Clark crossed as the Black and Whites suddenly discovered where the opposition try line was hiding. Lee began to panic. Owen Trout was sin-bin for dragging back Cust as he chased Caesar's pass, and the Leopards looked like they were trying to defend the lead while wearing oven gloves. Then Adam Cook produced 2 moments of quality to rescue them. First came a superb 40-20, and from a resulting pressure, he delivered a brilliant pass over the top for Charlie to finish acrobatically and claim his 22nd try of the season. Barron added his second shortly afterwards, following excellent work from Zach Hardacre. What a player Hardacre's been. Arguably Hull FC's best player once again on the night. But Hull's comeback had arrived just that little bit too late, rather like turning up to a wedding after the cake has already been eaten and the bride and groom are already on the beach in the Maldives. The victory was Lee's 10th in their last 12 games and lifted Adrian Lamb's side to 5th place above St Helens and Hull KR. For Hull FC, there was at least that small consolation that their spirited comeback pushed their city rivals and reigning champions Hull KR out of the playoff places. A moral victory, perhaps the sort of prize you get when the actual victory has already packed its bags and gone home. Then, of course, we come to the final contest on Saturday that saw two promoted sides go head-to-head for the second time this season. Both were in form, and it felt like it should be a belter. It didn't disappoint. Toulouse Olympic looked ready to steamroll York Knights into next week. Instead, they nearly invited them back into the party, handed them the microphone, and watched them do a 20-minute stand-up routine. Shorrock set the tone, landing an early penalty before bursting through after a powerful run and clever inside pass from Ethan Kai Ward. Porcelli then finished the slick move after Ashelbot's brilliant final pass before the fullback added one himself with a sharp break. Ulberg added another dagger to York's misery, finishing in the corner after Kai Ward produced a ridiculous one-handed flick pass that had no business working, but somehow it did. O'Kane added a fifth, and Paul McShane spilled Anthony's Marion's grubber, leaving York staring down the barrel of a very long second half. Then York got past passport control and turned up. The Knights exploded after the break, scoring 3 tries in 9 minutes through Ollie Field, Sam Wood and Nick Williams to turn a humiliation into a contest. Suddenly Toulouse were defending for their lives rather than planning their full-time highlights reel. Shorrock's penalty steadied the host, but Tom Inman's late converted try made the final minutes very uncomfortable and tense. Toulouse survived the wobble, and their stunning run has continued. York will be frustrated. They gave themselves such a mountain to climb in that first half. The second half 5-pack showed the character that had delivered 3 straight wins over Hull FC, Huddersfield Giants, and of course the Castleford Tigers. But a 28-point deficit is the sort of problem even a miracle worker struggles to fix. Toulouse remain one of the most dangerous sides in the competition at this time. They're scoring for fun, defending with attitude, and currently look like a team nobody wants to see on the fixture list, unless, of course, you enjoy spending 80 minutes chasing shadows. Well done to Toulouse. Commiserations to the Knights. But perhaps the best game of the weekend was saved till Sunday as Leeds Rhinos arrived at the One Ball Stadium to take on the Castleford Tigers. Castleford Tigers produced a stunning comeback for the ages, clawing back a 16-point deficit to topple league leaders Leeds Rhinos in a sensational West Yorkshire derby in a game that had everything: 13 tries, momentum swings, drama, controversy, and enough twists to need a seatbelt. The Tigers delivered one of the Super League's shocks of the season to claim only their second win in 7 games. The victory sent Castleford above Yorkshire rivals York Knights and the Bradford Bulls into 10th place, while Leeds missed the chance to extend their lead at the top, suffering just their 4th defeat of the campaign. The Rhinos came flying out the blocks in this one, scoring inside the opening minute as James McDonald bulldozed his way through Joe Stimson to put the visitors ahead. And things went from bad to worse for the Tigers. A penalty gave Jake Connor a simple 2 points. Many were surprised he took that. Many thought they'd go for the try, but they didn't, before Alfie Edgell then pounced on a loose ball to stretch Leeds' advantage. Within 15 minutes, Brodie Croft had raced almost half the length of the field. On top of that, charged down the wing. Brilliant run from Croft. Brilliant play. A cracking offload as well in that move from James O'Donnell. And the home crowd at this point were wondering, had they accidentally bought tickets for a horror show rather than a diary? And I have to say, rumour has it that the Tigers man who does the scoreboard, he was looking for an ejector seat at this point. But Castleford refused to surrender. Michaeli Ravalawa finally sparked into life for the Tigers. Brilliant finish in the corner. I mean, it really is a game of inches. A cracking pass as well from PLT for that one. Then came a moment of magic. Make It Sivo produced one of the tries of the Super League season thus far, collecting a high ball, shrugging off defenders. I mean, Tom Weaver, what are you even trying to tackle him for? Just went through him. No drama, albeit Weaver did have a decent game overall. He sprang 80 metres down the field, albeit, let's be fair, 80 metres at the one ball is more like 60, but it'll still go down as 80. Leeds looked in control at this point, but a lengthy stoppage following a serious-looking injury to Danny Levi, and we have to extend our best wishes to Danny. It looked bad. It took a long time to get him off the field, but thankfully Levi appears to be okay. We wish him our very best. And for me, it really affected the Leeds Rhinos. You could see that, Jack Bird was really, really cut up over it. He was very, very emotional. And you do wonder at times, the emotional side of this sport, how does it affect the players? Well, clearly it did, because from that point on in the end of the second half, Leeds looked to shadow the team that they'd been before the injury. Because when play resumed, Castleford began their fight back. It was in that moment, Ashton Golding crossed after a clever Assy assist before Alex Mellor's superb offload sent Jason Gary racing clear to score in the corner. For a second rower to do a catch and pass like that, beautiful stuff from the Mellor. Weaver's touchline conversion reduced the gap to just 4 points at the break. Nobody saw that coming after 15 minutes. Absolutely nobody. The second half continued to deliver chaos. Leeds briefly restored their advantage through Tom Holroyd and McDonald's second try, but the Tigers simply would not go away. To their credit, Assy muscled through a crowd of Rhinos defenders to score like he was a prop forward. Really poor defending that from the Rhinos, but you've got to take your hat off to Dejan Arce. The commitment, the way he went onto that ball, it was a wonderful, wonderful thing. Jack Ashworth, of course, finished off a brilliant team move following another powerful Gary parry. Let's say carry, shall we? Weaver's boot brought Castleford within 2 points at this point. Absolutely fantastic. Then came the turning point. A Leeds infringement allowed Weaver to level the scores before a successful Tigers challenge overturned a knock-on decision from the resulting attack. Ralame sent Gary over for the try that sent the one-ball stadium into meltdown. And for once, Ryan Carr was swearing for all the right reasons. More on that one, I'm sure, will come later in the week, but well done to Ryan Carr. Wasn't it great to listen to Ryan Carr throughout the game? I mean, people can have the view on that. At the end of the day, if Sky want to set up their cameras and their microphones so close to Mr. Carr as he's giving instructions to his team, well, that's on them. It's not on Ryan. It's only what every other coach does. It just happened to be picked up on the microphone. No issues for me there where Ryan Carr is concerned. Weaver calmly nailed the touchline conversion from that try because apparently the pressure of a packed derby and a comeback win just wasn't enough for Tom Weaver. Oh no, the excitement, everything was going there. Leeds though refused to quit and Brodie Croft grabbed his second try. But would you believe it? Jake Connor's kicking on the day was a shadow of what it's been all season. He couldn't get the job done for once, and he will be very, very disappointed today, I'm sure. It was a game of two halves. This was more like a game of 13 tries, 5 momentum swings, and 1 giant tiger-sized roar at the end. What a game. What a game. What a win for the Castleford Tigers. Leeds Rhinos all of a sudden maybe don't have both hands on the shield. This round proved once more that rugby league at its best gives us all the drama and excitement any sport fan could ever need. And it's played by the greatest athletes in the country. And we love them all for it. We get to do it all again, folks, this weekend. Bring it on. But for now, it's time to turn out the lights because round 19 is over.